Good evening, everyone, and welcome to session 5 of Alien Chariot of the Gods and our continuation of our It's Alive actual play on RPG Reanimators. We are going to start right in the heat of things as Wilson was trotting down the hallway with Clayton after having come to something of an agreement and starting to build a friendship together, possibly, whenever there was a stop. And Clayton asks, "Did you hear that?" Just as there was a slow drip that starts rolling down Wilson's front of her visor. I need, Wilson, I need you to roll me a d10 and tell me what you get for initiative. And for, I think it was Reed and Miller, I am going to need you to roll a d10, but you're going to get started in the second round as you're in the hallway a little ways away.
It's 4.
All right.
I got a 4.
Ooh, 4 is a popular turn. I'll go ahead and roll for John's. I think we may need some help here. Whew. All right. Wilson, you stop watching this drip roll down your helmet. You can't hear anything else around you, but see Clayton's eyes drifting up, up, up. You try to move your head and turn, but you can't see that far up ahead through your spacesuit. You have to rotate from your back in order to view what is up above you. As you see, there is this grayish, pale, almost translucent skinned thing hanging from the ceiling. You have a split second reaction as it is going to drop down on top of you immediately. What do you do? Oh, and you can also add a stress die in case this wasn't abundantly clear.
I did get rid of my stress. Excellent. Can I use my skill, my talent?
Why don't you tell those at home what your talent is?
Sure. It's personal safety. The interests of the company always come first, no matter what. And I represent the company, so that means my own safety is paramount. If I'm attacked or otherwise end up in fatal danger, and if another PC or friendly NPC is within short range, I can make a manipulation roll, not opposed, and it doesn't count as an action. If I succeed, I see the threat coming and find a clever way to make the other character suffer the attack or hazard instead of me.
For the company. For the purposes of this encounter, I will say that this is going to use your fast action, essentially, as a reaction to try and block or divert this attack. So why don't you go ahead and roll manipulate, as I'm going to see how well this alien grabs things. Oh dear.
I succeeded. 4 successes.
That is terrific because I rolled 3 successes on its deadly grab. So describe what the scene looks like as this thing is about to pounce down on top of you, seemingly bending its limbs backwards in order to latch on as you seem to, divert it onto Clayton?
Yes, absolutely. So I think Wilson's going to duck out of the way and probably duck behind Clayton as much as he can. Maybe just basically pulling her towards him and spinning around and maybe dashing down the hall.
Or how about this? If you're having to lean back a bit to even see this thing up above you, you could carry that inertia to essentially tumble backwards. And like Clayton would sort of be left the only one standing there as you fall down. Its hand, if you can call it that, really just grabs onto part of Clayton. And hang on a second, I need to reread this real quick as there is a shriek. This thing seems to be spindly, almost spider-like, if it wasn't for this bulbous head, as its jaws seem to come out of its mouth like a goblin shark and yell out a screech that is drowned out only by Clayton's scream as she is carried away by this thing that seems to take up half of her body weight as she is screaming and being dragged down the hallway. It is now it's and Wilson's turn again. So, Wilson, you have one action on this round. I will say you can be on your feet more or less since you used your reaction for that thing. I am going to roll and see what it does with Clayton as it is carrying her down the hallway, dragging more than carrying, I would say. Wilson, what are you doing?
So if it's going away from me, can I? What gun do I have? I have a gun. I think it's not a good gun. A bolt gun? Is that what I have?
I think you have a bolt gun, yes.
I guess I'm gonna try and shoot at it as I'm going back towards the others.
Okay. So as you are levying your gun to try and shoot it, I will remind you, you only have one action, so there is no movement or anything in this
Okay.
turn. Visually, what you are seeing is it seemed to have dragged Clayton deeper back towards the doors to Science Lab 1 and 2.
Oh, okay.
He is grabbing onto the doors as it is trying to take her in there, and you see this tail seems to unfurl from the thing's back and start stabbing down on her. You
Okay.
can aim. If you fail, there is a non-zero chance you're going to hit Clayton with this as well.
So it's already going towards the others?
What?
Back towards the science lab?
Oh no, it's going away from
Oh.
the others. The others
Oh,
are
okay,
coming
never
from
mind.
the
Okay,
med
okay,
lab,
great.
but it is
Okay,
dragging
okay,
her
okay.
farther away. Cham, as you are standing frozen on the catwalk down in Deck C, you hear echoes of a woman's scream coming from somewhere, echoing down the ladder in front of you and to the right. Wilson, what are you doing?
Ranged combat?
Okay,
Is that what I'm rolling?
roll those dice.
And I panic but keep it together, one success, and technically actually have one more stress dice because I used my talent. So I'm just gonna roll one more. And I rolled a success on that.
Okay, so how many
Stress
successes
dice.
in total?
2.
Okay. Um, this is also very fitting because in Alien, whenever you roll a panic, even if you keep it together, you essentially empty the clip. I think it makes good sense for this bolt gun. This is made as a construction tool than a weapon.
Yeah.
So that is, you just like, boom, the bolt is gone. You're going to have to spend a fast action to reload it if you want to shoot again. Since you got 2 successes on this roll, if you want, you can spend one of those successes and essentially halt it from actually making meaningful damage on Clayton. Because I will be very frank, otherwise it is going to fuck her up.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, can you remind me what the damage is on that bolt gun? Or I can pull it up in the book real quick. Pistol.
3.
That is 3 damage. Ooh, nice. Okay. And let me roll for its armor. Wow. Miller, you, Reed, and Johns hear a screaming coming from down the hallway. I'm assuming that you pick it up double time, running south on this map towards the science sector.
We hear the bolt gun go off.
And you hear a loud "Dum" that seems to echo down, and the screaming stops. You both can roll me mobility, just because I want to see if you notice something else.
I'd love to. Mobility. Ugh. Flee. I got 2 successes, but I panic with a flee condition.
Okay. So because this is kind of funny at this point, you all book it to run down the hallway and you round the corner. Miller, as you turn, you see that there is this Xeno thing, some kind of alien, I almost called it the wrong thing, is
What the
as
fuck?
tall as a man and is hovering, looming over Clayton, who seems to be bleeding on the ground. You see this and nope the fuck out. That is a lot bigger than that little thing that came out of Rye's leg just now.
Just U-turn.
Exactly. That's, well, good luck, y'all. And turn back around.
Where are you going, coward?
You're the fucking Marine!
All right. Well, I mean, I got 2 successes on this with no panic, so I'm gonna rush in there.
Okay, so you rush further in. You go past Wilson, who is just shaking, holding this bolt gun that I'm imagining is essentially shooting kind of a piece of rebar that has a rivet attached at the end of it. As you round the corner in there, you can see that this thing is not standing over Clayton, but Wilson just fucking kebabbed it against the far wall of Science Lab 1. Its armor did not matter for shit, and that happened to take it out. Clayton is still almost panicking, kind of trying to bat this thing off of her. There is this yellowish ichor that is streaked across the ground as it is hanging limply down or across the wall. It's about this time that Cham is the only one that notices there is a low hiss coming from the thing underneath the grate. You can feel the momentum of this catwalk jostle slightly as it seems to jump off and bound somewhere into the darkness of the vehicle bay below.
All right, come on, Ava. Let's get the fuck out of here. We're lickety split, and I'm making my way to the door to the central area.
Okay. You can make your way down there, keeping it slow and quiet. You don't know where this thing is, but you are confident that where it dropped down, I mean, you're in a hallway, so you would have to see it coming around behind you, unless your eyes turn and linger on the vents to the service ducts down here that actually seem to go all throughout the ship. But you don't have time to worry about that right now as you make your way up the stairs towards deck B. Jesus fucking Christ. You killed it. You killed the thing.
This is to me, I'm assuming.
Yes, this is directed to Wilson.
What, you did this?
Yeah. Not so useless now, am I?
Might make a Marine after you after all.
And I'll pointedly look at Clayton.
And Clayton, I'm going to actually ask if you can do a contested manipulation roll to see if she realized you just absolutely threw her under the bus with that.
She owes me.
Maybe.
Great. So I got a panic dice.
You don't need to worry about that.
Okay.
I'm not going. This is just a more cinematic because I want to see as your eyes kind of meet for just a second.
One success then.
Okay. Clayton seems to her eyes lock on yours for just a bit, and then she'll say, "Thanks. I knew I could trust you."
I hope that there'll be continued trust in the future.
As Reed, you're kind of looking around and feel like there's something being communicated in corpo speak on either side of you.
The opposite of sexual tension.
Well, we got our health. We should probably make it back.
Yeah, that's Oh, that sounds good. Can you help me up?
Important.
She offers her arm up, and you can see that it's kind of just a white company typical sponsored clothes they're torn. There's a little bit of blood that's kind of staining this white shirt top that she is wearing, but otherwise seems more or less unharmed, just very shaken. Clayton usually is what's the word, indefatigable, but like for right now she is continuing to kind of hold her hand on your shoulder for a bit, just even though she can seem to walk for herself. Where are you all going?
Am I still fleeing?
So I imagine, and you can stop me if this is breaking the verisimilitude a bit too much, but I imagine that you turn the corner and then turn back around and see Flynn is hunched over, just kind of, oh, that's so interesting. And this shrieking, bony thing with your crewmates, like, severed foot, and then and then turn back around again, and then can see Reed, Clayton, and Wilson are coming back in together.
All right. Deep breaths, Vincent.
And that's a good enough reminder. Can you go ahead and roll oxygen for me, those of you that have your helmets on?
I'm at 3.
You must have some kind of hidden reserve supply going on in there.
That's right. It's the captain's reserve. I'm technically like still captain, but I don't have a ship.
You could be captain of this ship, just call dibs.
Yeah.
That's how it works, right?
Isn't that John though? No, Reed. No, not Reed. Who's the
No,
other?
Johns is
Yeah,
the
Johns.
is
He's
the de facto
officer,
captain
right?
of this ship, but he seemed very, very okay with being given orders to do things. If you recall from our last session, he had already mentioned that there has been one mutiny on the ship, and he's not excited for a second one against him.
I'm thinking like, all right. He's obviously weak of will. Maybe this ship will do.
He doesn't have enough empathy.
That's right. He doesn't care about his crew. Yeah, everything is gonna be okay. We just need a plan.
Right. And as you all are standing more or less around this living area, where do you plan to go? Or do you want to go back in the med lab with this shrieking thing? And
I need to give
Flynn?
everyone vaccines.
That you do. Miller took his vaccine. He took
I
his
took one
medicine.
for Chams.
But you took my vaccine.
Well, yeah, I took your vaccine. I told you I was taking it.
We're trying to reverse engineer it. It's
Now,
proprietary formula,
you're
Captain.
leaning over your little experiment here.
Oh, so wait, are you guys in the
We're in
You
the
guys-
hallway near the science wing.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
imagining if you look at kind of this T junction, you can poke your head out and probably see them down either the immediate hallway or the other one right outside by the med lab in the
I've
living
sh-
area.
I think I've shoved gauze in both my ears because the screeching won't stop. But I'm sitting there with a notepad or data pad, whatever would be a writing
Okay.
utensil.
Well, we can
Ready.
come back to you in just a second, as you are going to see some important observations about this life
Ooh.
form. With this, then, Reed, Miller, Wilson, where do you want to go to have this discussion? You, Wilson, in particular, feel a bit vulnerable being out in the open.
Mm-hmm. I think we should keep the buddy system going. I think we should
Yeah, I
stick
called dibs
together.
on Reed.
Or we
Sorry,
could move
she's
as a
spoken
unit.
for.
Should we check out what Chams is up to?
Yes,
Yeah,
I need
let's
to get this vaccine to Cham. I'll radio to Cham. I don't think he's gonna respond because I believe he turned his radio off. Cham,
way,
Cham, come in.
way down. But it is about this time that maybe you can see the bulky form of Chams's suit, and another figure is coming out sort of at the far end of the hallway in front of you, past the stairwell and whatnot. You can see them up ahead.
I'll
Yeah.
wave. Cham, I didn't hear anything from you. I thought I was fearing the worst, but I did get you a vaccine. I'm holding it
Okay.
up.
Give him a little shh. Be like, when I approach, Captain, keep your voice down. I think these things are attracted to sound, and I point to all the vents that are all over the place in the ship. I'm like, I had to turn my radio off. There was at least one of them down in the hold there. Uh, Damn near didn't even make it past. I heard somebody yelling.
That would be me. You know, fighting for my life and all that.
Well, glad to see you're still with us, Miss Clayton. Right? Was that? Yeah, great.
That's right.
Yeah, yeah. So, Captain, there's at least one of them I saw, maybe more in the cargo hold. This place is honeycomb with vents that I think they're maybe using to get around the ship in. I fixed old Ava up here so she can lend us a hand figuring out just what the hell's going on, and more importantly, how the hell we're getting off this bucket.
Good
But
God.
what's that?
I said, good God.
I, I don't know what to do, Cap.
We
Ava
need to
said
get
that there
those
was a
engines
bunch of.
fired up. Maybe we can make a barricade.
Well, I don't think that's a terrible idea per se, but I mean, when Ryan and I went into, or Davis and I first went into the med bay, it looks like they barricaded the shit out of the place. Didn't seem to do too much for them, though.
Well, either we barricade and we arm up, or we all starve to death because
Yeah,
we're running out of ammo.
that's going to be a problem.
We need to get this ship going. But first
Yeah,
and foremost, you need to take this vaccine.
you got it, you got it. Now I'll take the vaccine from them. And I do want to know too, like, hey, where's Kev at? Where's Rye at? I don't see him with y'all.
He's
He's
gonna be
fine.
okay. He's recovering from a operation that
Operation? What happened?
it's best not to worry about that now. All he's gonna live.
He's alive?
Yeah. The Dr. Flynn, he had to amputate a leg
Amputate?
because one of those freaks was growing in his leg.
Grow? He grew inside him?
That's right.
The fuck?
That's why you need to take that vaccine.
Did Kev take this vaccine?
No,
Oh, okay. Okay. Wait, so there's some kind of a contagion spreading across what? Like what?
I
All
believe
of
the
a sudden,
doctor
our
says
ship
it's in
blows
the
up, and now
air.
you're telling me to take a vaccine, and there's zombies, and there's
Are
alien
you being
critters, and this.
anti-vax on me? Just take it.
All right. Yeah, I'll get the vaccine. I'll turn. If is Flynn there, or
Flynn's in. I'm gonna point at the med bay room.
what do I do? Just into the neck, into
Yeah,
my.
yeah. So just hold your breath into the
Hold
neck.
my breath. I've been walking around without my helmet on.
Oh, okay. Then just inject it. What could go wrong?
What
I see Lex thinking.
what could go wrong? What could go wrong? Hang on 1 second for me. All right. Shit. All right. Yeah, I'll put it in, try to give it a go. So Ava and I were trying to get out of here. She said all the data on the ship, like flight logs, anything they got is up in the uh, what's it called? The cockpit, the bridge.
That would be the command station,
The
Mr.
command,
Champ.
thanks, Ava. The command station. I figure we can get some kind of schematics on the ship, figure out what the hell's wrong with it. Maybe we can get the engines going, and Kevin and I can, or I mean, shit. I guess I can get the engines going.
I believe I told you the engines are currently disconnected from the ship's reactor. Damage from the micro asteroid shower from exiting orbit around LV 11113.
Oh,
Can this be repaired via spacewalk, or do you need to make the repairs on the inside?
One moment, and you watch her eyes seemingly kind of vibrate back and forth. It would require substantial repairs. I was unable to conduct these myself, requiring at least one spacewalk to connect all 4 ship's engines, and then manual reconnection within the reactor room, where Mr. She twitches very sharply. Collins seems to remain irate.
All right, so you're saying one of those things, those freaks, is in the engine room.
Yes, Mr. Chams here gave me a welder to ensure that Mr. Collins remains undisturbed.
Well, we know these things can be killed. You killed a big one, right, Wilson?
Did.
With one shot from the bolt gun.
So I
Did you
say
hit
we
it?
just
Right.
Did you hit it anywhere in particular?
Well, I pinned it to the wall. I hit its tail.
Okay. So if these things react to sound, we could probably sneak up on them and just line up a shot if we have to deal with them.
I think we got to. We've tried barricading before. We've tried so many other things. I think we just got to flush them out at this point, if you ask me.
How many do you think there are?
I honestly can't remember from before the cryo state, so there could be, as far as we know, minimum 2, maximum like fucking tens, hundreds. I don't know.
Would Mother be able to tell us how many life forms are on the ship?
The ship's mother unit is calibrated for warm-blooded creatures, not unlike yourself. It is at this time I do not believe the ship could detect exactly where these other organisms may be. Some
Well,
data is classified, I am afraid.
regardless, I think we should get Cham out in space along with someone else to start making repairs on that
You know,
spacewalk.
Normally I'd bulk at that, but out in space there ain't no aliens, so that sounds great to me.
Yeah.
So let's get out there. I'm already suited up.
I will also note the ship's oxygen scrubbers are still in critical condition and dire need of refreshing. You
And
are
what floor
showing.
is that?
I'm sorry?
Sorry, what floor are the oxygen scrubbers located?
The air scrubber shaft can be accessed via the maintenance tunnels within Deck C.
So that's
You
also
all.
in Deck C.
Yes, you remain with your helmet on, although the remainder of the Cronus crew present seem to be suffering from signs of hypoxia.
Oh, that sucks for them. I'm kidding.
I'm afraid I don't need to remind you that your suit's air supply cannot last forever.
We'll see how lucky I am.
Well, Cap, she got a point. What's
So we need to
priority
fix
here?
the scrubbers first to get the refill on the oxygen on our suits. And then we can split up then with you and someone else doing the spacewalk and the rest of us trying to get access to that reactor room where Dr. Collins is.
Yeah. All right.
I think that's going to have to be the plan in order to get things moving.
Well, if it's all right with you, then do you mind if I take Ava with me? We'll gear up. I could use her to help me at least fix stuff up, get some schematics, figure out what's wrong with it, and get to work.
Yeah.
All right. Come on, Ava. We're going to head down to the bridge area, bring up them schematics that we need. We're going to hit the storeroom that's right in front of it, get all the gear and whatnot, and then we'll get to work, Cap. I'll keep you informed.
I guess maybe Johns, Reed, and I will head down to the air scrubbers, see what we can do, while maybe Wilson stays with Dr. Flynn.
Yeah. Usually, I mean, it's we get the grunts to change out the air scrubbers just because it's shit and smells bad. But
Yeah, well, now you're the grunt, buddy.
Welcome to the club, and I pat him on the back.
We're all grunts.
Welcome to the Marines.
you pat him on the back very hard, and he kind of every time that you do, and he's like, "All right, yeah, fine."
You
to
You okay
speak
there,
with
buddy?
Clayton.
I'm sorry.
I was just saying I was hoping to speak to Clayton, maybe in the mother room.
Yeah, that that sounds good. Maybe
And get the status. Yeah,
we can accompany Cham and Ava up to the bridge, and then maybe visit the mother room on
sure.
deck A. Just she pulls out a pistol that seems to be her only sidearm and checks it. She doesn't seem that, I mean, Reed, you're kind of shaking your head as she is shakily checking and still leaves the safety on, but she seems like that's going to be her lifeline. During this little group huddle, Flynn, you are taking notes with your data pad over this creature. It is continuing to screech and howl at being kept in captivity in some form, constantly trying to escape. You wonder if at a certain point that it may be sensitive to the sterile white light permeating this room. So maybe you just looking from the glow of your data pad, you can switch off the lights inside this first med bay area. The screams and things tend to die down slowly. The only illumination is coming from the dim blue screen of your data pad. And it's as you are watching, sometimes you may flip the pad over to more illuminate the creature as your eyes are still adjusting to the dark. And as it stops screaming for a bit, you hear kind of a wet rustling, padding, and a crunching. Turning the light, or let's say that there is a flashlight feature on this data pad. It illuminates a cone on the floor, and you can slowly drift it up to watch as this small, well, it seems to have grown slightly just in the time since it has emerged from Rye's leg, but now it seems to be ripping and tearing the fabric around the boot of the leg and consuming it. The small orifice of its mouth is seems to be, you were watching, I used the analogy like a goblin shark before, as it seems to extrude out with apparently powerful jaws that are taking anything, snapping and bringing it back inside. It is consuming very quickly and almost burrowing into the boot part to eat the remainder of Rye's leg.
Fascinating. Is it eating the bone too?
Yes. These jaws, even though this thing was just born and it seems to be very frail and delicate, you are watching it just snap right through the tibia. And you can roll your analysis talent for taking some additional time to view this to see if you observe anything else.
What did I get? Hold on. I got 3 successes and 1 stress, I think. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
And I got keeping it together.
Perhaps because the biology of this creature is so unsettling that you are watching something again that is frail and seemingly delicate just consume and rip and crunch through a grown man's shin bone. It ate the patella, the entire kneecap, brought it in, and you hear crunching, and there is an unfortunate smell begins to permeate around in the room. And you swear you are seeing it grow in real time as it starts working its way into the adult size boot of of what remains, and you lose track of it as you watch this spiny tail seem to distend, as if its spinal column is just drifting down its back and ending in a curved spike. You see it whipping around from the interior of the boot. These things develop quickly,
Hmm. Yes.
and they seem to have a very healthy metabolism.
Are they translucent? Is this one?
This so the skin of this was fairly translucent. However, since you got I believe the scientific term is a shitload of successes for your analysis, um, the spines that were seeming to come from I guess you could call it something like an arm. It's reminding you, I believe I mentioned a praying mantis last time, but it seems to have barbs that are erupting from it. You are seeing those seem to solidify. And I will give a clue for this here that it seems it is altering based on its surroundings. The other neomorphs that you have seen have been very soft, delicate, especially if you extracted them from a host before they fully erupted. But this one seemed to develop spines as if to free itself from the suit where it was still contained. And they are seeming to grow thicker. You wonder if, because it is in a cage, it is trying to break out of on a biological level.
Yes. Um,
This is the ultimate genetic weapon. This
I know.
is invaluable to the company.
If you could learn to grow it in
And
different
just
ways for different tasks.
drop them into potential, I don't want to say colonies, but even a handful of these could decimate an entire city.
Hmm. Now, rough approximations on there that if I'm guessing I would know how much force it takes to break a bone.
Mhm.
Would I be then worried about it possibly being strong enough to break the steel cage?
To that, I can say it's not as if this creature is just happened to pull out Rye's fibula and then snap it and then slurp down on the marrow within. It seems as if the jaws of this thing are immensely powerful.
Got it.
However, you don't know if they would be able to chew through the reinforced metal bars of this holding cage.
Yeah, I still want to see him develop a bit more, see what he turns into. I was debating maybe taking the boot away, but I don't really want to get close with that possible tail whipping
And it is
around.
currently inside of the boot as you're
Oh, okay.
hearing more ripping and smacking sounds.
Fascinating. Fascinating. Yes. It's definitely good data for science itself. What we
Of
could do
course,
with a
for
creature like
science.
what we could do with a creature like this. Um, but I'd have to say my priority is probably I think my priority right now is that this data is probably worthless to the company if we all just die on this ship and then we're stuck in the derelict open space.
Mhm.
So I kind of want to. My goal is to try and look at it to see if we can find any weaknesses or um, anything we can do that I can help with. My more combat evolved friends can deal with it.
And so, in this case, then, let's say that you are able to take these observations during the previous conversation. And as you start thinking about your more combat oriented friends, you realize it's been a while since they went to leave. You can't unplug your ears since the screaming has at least stopped. And now the sounds of crunching are even more audible. But you don't hear any more screaming or gunfire. You can poke your head out of the med lab and then see that the team seems to be more or less huddled around in this living quarters area and meet with Rye. and through the grapevine learned that there is they say a big one that is pinned against the wall in Science Lab 1.
Perfect. It's not too destroyed?
No, she fucking kebabbed it against the wall there. Or sorry, Wilson fucking kebabbed it against the wall there.
Wow. I did not take you as being capable of doing that. Impressive, Wilson. I'll go take a look at that. But everyone else, who here hasn't gotten a vaccine yet?
Wilson, have you had the vaccine?
No.
All right, well, would you like one?
I'm sort of waiting to see what the effects on everybody else are.
Clayton
I
will
mean,
speak up and say, well, I can say we're still walking and talking perfectly fine. We would have had the vaccine. I don't want to do the math, but for us, it has been at least, what, a few days? And we don't have any of those things bursting out of us. Cooper and Flynn and some of the other researchers did all their due diligence to, they did their homework.
Yeah,
Company doesn't hire idiots, do they?
Yeah, and the idiots who did not take it are dead now.
Fair point.
all right. Backs me up.
Well, first, we need to do a light physical exam because I do not want what happened to Rye happening to you. Do you have any sore spots around your body?
And no, I'm in peak physical condition, except for the time that I got slammed against a bunch of broken glass, but
No pulsing tumors?
no.
Okay, fine. You want these to be administered by a doctor. You never want to self-administer these vaccines, as I look to the group. Because we all saw what happened to Rye, right, guys? And I injected into Wilson.
Wilson, you can unclasp your helmet as you have your suit is kind of flashing a red light as this conversation is going on, as you are on one oxygen reserve, essentially. So you can, there's a slight hissing sound as you lift your helmet off. The saliva that seemed to be dripping from the creature has hardened into almost a hard kind of resin, as if it wasn't just liquid. But the smell down here that you are confronting for the first time is considerable. You are hitting a smell of straight decay off of sort of lingering around Clayton in this room. It smells like a dank swamp almost.
Take a handkerchief out of my jacket.
And you almost immediately feel like you can't catch your breath as well as you were just a second ago. And you're understanding now what the rest of the group was talking about in terms of the high carbon dioxide concentrations in here. And then you
Seems like the oxygen's on low in here as well. Out of the frying pan into the fire.
That you can be very witty as you lean your head over, and Flynn brings up this kind of black ampoule and puts it into your jugular. There is a sound as the vaccine is administered into your system. Burns a little bit, but no big deal, unless you're afraid of needles.
No.
Now, see? Wasn't too bad, right?
Well, we'll see, I guess.
Now, Sham, I believe you haven't gotten a vaccine yet, right?
No, I took a Cap gave it to me. So we're good. I'm set.
Okay.
Cap set. Wilson set.
Well, I believe by the fact that you haven't exploded means that it was a worthy risk by the captain.
That's right. I always make the right calls.
Yeah, good time save. Yeah, all right. Do I notice is Clayton doing okay? She hurt?
I won't ask for a roll. It's mostly that Clayton seems shaken for the first time that you have seen in a long time. But any wounds that she has seem to be very superficial.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm actually like since I will also probably notice that people are not starting to not look good from the oxygen. So I'll say we really need to get these oxygen scrubbers online.
Yeah, we gotta basically secure the area first.
Yep, that's the plan, Doc.
I
Great.
mean, we might as well just all go down together.
I'll turn to the Marine, Reed, and I'll say, do you have any ammo for this gun? Seemed to be effective before.
I mean, it's not really a gun; that's a tool. But
Yeah, this gun.
sure, I'm sure if we look around, I don't know, like a supply closet, maybe. Like I don't know. I'm sure.
There
I
is some maintenance and construction equipment within the storage units on Deck C.
That's
Ava
right where
pipes
we're
up.
headed.
So wait, you want us all to go? Someone has to watch Rye. Kevin. He's out right now, and I don't. That's an easy target for something. If
Well, if they're attracted to sound, he's not making any sound,
I totally knew they were attracted to sound. Yes.
right?
So
But like, are you going to keep the thing in the cage in the next room next to the Rise unconscious body?
of course,
Okay.
You still haven't
I can,
terminated that thing?
I'm getting great data from this, and in fact, thanks to Wilson for securing my next test subject.
What are you even planning to do with these things?
I'm gonna.
Wait, next
What?
test subject?
I have a live one, and I'm trying to see if there's like find an Achilles heel on these creatures so that we can get rid of them all.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you meant Rye was your next test subject.
Oh no, Rye, no. Rye's a
Yeah.
patient of mine. I taken great care. In fact, many people around here wanted to give up on him, but there was one person who never gave up because I practice my creed, my Hippocratic oath. Now,
So I trust that you're staying in this area and near the med bay, right?
I mean, I'll come with you guys if you want. Do
I
you?
mean, quite frankly, I think your skills might be more useful up here than down there.
Yeah, I kind of want to collect some tissue samples from the skewered alien and return back to the med lab and run some diagnostics on it.
Okay, but you shouldn't be alone, so choose someone to stay with you.
Um,
I can stay with him if you
yeah, I'll
want.
choose the NPC.
All right, John.
Yeah, John's gonna.
All right, Johns, you can just stay with Flynn. The rest of us are gonna go down to those air scrubbers and see what we can work with.
Actually save lives.
Yeah, enough, John. Let's get on with it because I want to be able to breathe and then fly through space and get off this rig one of these days. Let's get to it.
I am treating myself to a vacation planet once I get off of this.
Where are you going, Cap?
Oh, Tyrannus V, the
Tyrannus
best beaches
V.
in the universe.
I had a buddy went to Tyrannus V. You would not believe the space gonorrhea he came back with. You don't want to go to Tyrannus V.
Well, looks like he can't keep it in his pants.
That's fair enough. Fair enough, Cap.
Clayton
All right,
leans over to Wilson and didn't they just say to not be loud, that these things are drawn to noise? But I'll just let them stay in front. How about that?
Bridge, right?
Yeah, hey, Miller. We're going to gather some data from the bridge, get some ship schematics to help you with your repairs, and then go check on the mother unit, if that is okay with you.
I mean, you have the access and I don't. It's very clear. So just get the schematics to me so I can instruct Cham on what to do to fix his air scrubbers.
If you wouldn't mind grabbing me more bolts while you're down there.
Our resident
I'm
sharpshooter
gonna
here.
I'm gonna start walking away.
Thanks, Captain.
As you are walking away, Ava is accompanying you. Cham, she's moving slowly and still kind of has that thudding limp as she walks ahead, but does note that I am familiar with the equipment to replace the air scrubbers if needed. As you all can walk down the hallway and make your way towards the stairwell. Flynn, you are essentially, if they are going north, you are going south, back towards this science lab one. As you round the corner, the door at this point is shut. And I don't know if you have been back here since the Cronus has de-thawed, but the smell of decay is truly quite something as the door opens again. If these organisms have some type of smell, that is lost. It is hanging on a wall above what seems to be a nest that was wrought, and you can tell that some of these bones are human and others seem distorted is the word that comes to mind. There is this thick black ichor that is seeping out of one of the freezer storage unit that seems to have been smashed, and it seems that some of the urns are leaking the 26 Draconis strain. So you know enough to steer clear of them, but you can start taking some samples or running some tests on this creature. For the purposes of this, I will say that this is going to take a shift of work. If you can roll your analysis talent for me and let me know what you get. I will not, don't worry about rolling stress dice on it at this time.
I rolled 2 regular successes.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I just want to mainly I'm interested in like what their flesh is made out of. I'm gonna be particularly what
Flesh.
their or
Oh,
I
I mean, sorry.
well, I would like to get a tissue sample, see like if their cells are similar to anything that I know of. I want to get a look at their jaws, since like even as a very early life stages, their jaws are extremely strong. So I'm interested in what's up with their physiology.
Okay. And we can return to you shortly. As the majority of the group is heading back downstairs to Deck C, Cham, that kind of cold chill washes over you once again as you head back down these stairs and into the lower decks that are lit about at half the brightness of those on the seemingly comfy by comparison Deck B. You're constantly looking at the vents left and right, and you can't shake that you don't know where that other thing is. But you all are near the storage lockers. Ava can guide the group over and open some of the lockers. One of them that contains the what is it? I always forget what it is called. Ba-da-ba. I called it napalm on steroids at one point, but I can never actually remember the real name.
The Trinium 3 or whatever it is.
No, that was from your ship.
That's right.
The one that exploded.
Quinitrocyclotine. How could I not remember that? And as Ava opens up the unit that contains the 7 drums of this material, she leans over and is grabbing some maintenance equipment. Opening another one of the lockers. She is grabbing they're kind of like large, essentially space HEPA filters is what I'm going to call them, but the replacement components of the air scrubbers. And she can explain to the rest of those in attendance that the air scrubbers can either be cleaned, and she holds up a steel brush, or replaced. Both will take equivalent, or both will take roughly equivalent amounts of time. That will mean about 1 shift of work.
Yeah, best we replace them.
Yeah. Straight up.
While we're here, I'm gonna look around the supply room and try to find something sturdy, like the axe that I can use to maybe block an attack. It
Okay.
worked well last time.
And I want to look around for those construction bolts for Wilson, like they asked for.
All right. So you can certainly find those. I think looking around, you can find regular tools. Essentially, you have like a wall of tools. They're magnetized up against there. So you can get a lot of different supplies. I would say equivalent of hammers and wrenches. The
I'm
fire
gonna find a
axe,
large ass wrench. if
you
I
can get a big ass wrench. Yes, I will accept that. And there are
this big, not
2
compensating
bolt
wrench.
guns, a cutting torch, and a maintenance jack, in addition to other types of tools and things, can be found in these storage units.
All right, I'll take a wrench and a bolt gun.
Okay. The bolt guns are bulky and heavy, but there always have construction straps that you can kind of lace it and have it dangling back
I'll
behind
dangle
you.
it on my back then.
Yeah. Ava can get a large collection. It kind of looks like someone carrying a big stack of pizza boxes of the air filters necessary to replace it. And so, what I can say mechanically is, as Ava can lead you over towards the air scrubber areas, this is accessed through the maintenance vents. You have to go sort of in and then climb through.
We have to go in the vents
You have
where
to go
those things are.
precisely. This is an
Fuck.
alien game, baby. And you have to go through the vents and then to the what is it called? Hang on a second. I have to flip back through this book again. In the air scrubber shaft, it is a kind of tight fit in terms of a column with a body of water underneath it. Oxygen in the Cronus is replaced via electrolysis. So there are electrified rods that are going into this water to create steam, which is then brought up to the oxygen scrubbers. So it will be in this kind of tight, constrained space. I will limit no more than 2 characters can actually fit and work in here, but others can create a conga line to try and bring supplies up and down through these vents in order to work on this. I will let you all decide how you want to approach this.
I mean,
Um,
those with the best expertise in the repairs, they should go in.
Cam, I just had a thought cross my brain when Ava said that it's, water that's electrolyzed into steam and such. Well, if it's water on the ship that's filled with an airborne contaminant, could that have gotten into the water? Is the water like hermetically sealed, Ava?
It is not. To our knowledge, the neomorph spores come from these growths, and she actually kind of like pokes at one with her foot. There are those things that have looked kind of like barnacles or robin's eggs. And as she taps it, you see it kind of crack open. Little black spores begin spiraling up out of it and moving towards you all.
Let's not breathe that in. Shut my later.
You're
It is-
vaccinated.
It is
Wow.
perfectly safe. You all have had the 26 Draconis strain vaccine. The spores are of no threat to you.
Yeah, be that as it may, I still don't want that inside my body.
Yeah,
All
what's
right,
the
well,
percentage of confidence do you have on that statement, Ava?
The vaccine is approximately 95% successful.
Oh,
95% of the time it works 100% of the
that's
time.
right.
So
But
we're
you know
good.
what that means? Don't get unlucky.
Yep. Well, fuck. I bust out the motion detector and open up a vent and like hold it in and fire it up, see if there's any pings.
Okay. For the purposes of convenience, because I don't remember what the battery value of this was, let's say that they had a Makita charger and you could charge the battery on your motion detector for a good bit before it kaputs out. So your motion detector battery is at full for all
Oh,
intents
okay,
and
great.
purposes.
Perfect. Yeah.
You're just doing a quick blitz. I'm not going to worry about a roll on this here. So you're kind of shoving your hand into the maintenance access vent.
Yeah,
And
I'm also looking into it as I don't just blindly
you're
shove my
not.
hand in it. I
Okay.
hope for the best. Yeah, I'll open the vent and just kind of glance from back. If nothing's coming out, I'll kind of get down on my haunches with the tracker in there and see what
Mhm.
pings.
As you turn this motion detector on, it is giving a familiar. As you can tell, it's emitting some kind of ultrasonic pulse. You are seeing the blips of the team around you, and a I would say if you're holding it in the vent, you can potentially see a large kind of glowy motion thing, which would be about where Ava has described the air scrubbers are. It seems like the pieces in there may be in motion of some sort, but nothing is actually moving towards you in the vent or changing position.
Fuck.
You can also hear, if you open your helmet again, a rather dull roar is coming through the vent, as it seems the air scrubbers also make a considerable amount of noise.
Ava, is that the typical sound for the air scrubbers?
It is nothing to be concerned about, I assure you.
Fuck.
Though you may wish to communicate via the radios in your suit. Uh,
All right, I turn my radio on. I go, fucking fuck, across the channel. Uh, Cap, you want to loan me that there bolt gun you got strapped on?
Yeah, there were two, so
Okay,
the
well,
bolt gun won't be necessary to replace the air filters, Mr. Chams.
yeah, it might be useful to John Wilson up one of these motherfuckers if they get too close.
yeah, so I guess you'll get the extra bolt gun.
All right. Uh, um, I'll get in this vent with like I don't know if there's I can strap tools to like a thing I drag with me or filters and so you said it's about two people can fit up in the air scrubber shaft to do the
Okay,
work or
so I'm trying to break it up as Ava is essentially describing the thing before you
Mhm.
can go inside. If you want to crawl through the vent and make your way over to the air scrubbers, um, what you can see is that there is a sort of a mesh metal railing that is around the periphery of this rotating equipment that seems to be sort of rotating, again, rods that are in a pool of water underneath you. There isn't a kind
Mm,
of mad science like bolts of electricity going down into it, but it
mhm.
does have a strong smell of ozone inside. So you can tell that there is heavy electric current being put through the water there that is causing a light steam to billow upwards.
Yeah.
Cham, as you can shine a flashlight up above you, you can see that there are kind of ladders that are going up, just the rungs that are sticking out of the walls. You can climb up and will need to hang on to, as you will need to replace each of the, I'm going to call them pizza box size space HEPA filters on these oxygen scrubbers in order for it to start going, to start moving more towards capacity. The current state of the filters is in dismay, as those same kind of barnacle robin's egg fungal growths are all up and down the current
Fuck.
filters. It is the reason why they are so clogged.
All
And
right.
it is even through your suit, you can sort of feel it is vibrating slightly, and you would know full well it is extremely noisy in here. And I will say that any that any observation rolls for noise will be at a -2 penalty.
Well, I tell you what, if Ava gives me a hand, I mean, I just there's nothing to do but we either get started or we don't. That's it. That's our options. We either do this or there's no air. So I mean, fuck. All right. Yeah, I'll get started on this right away, Cap.
So I will say this will take a heavy machinery roll, and if Captain Miller would like to help out, you can get a +1 on this. But Miller, I want you to describe where you're going to be, what you're doing in all of this.
So he has to crawl through the vent, right? To straight up get in
I would
there.
say more hunch than crawl. The
Okay.
vent is maybe like 3.5 feet
Right.
square.
But
So,
once he's in that air scrubber chamber, it's like a little room.
mhm.
Mhm.
So I could also go in the vent and just start helping
Yes,
as well.
you can also move in and out and start helping. It would speed things up considerably.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
And I believe to help someone is just another +1 for them.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm
Question:
helping you out.
in all of this, would my stress have decreased at all lately, or is it still just where it's at? I'm fine either way.
If you were to have taken it easy for a bit, I would say yes. But as it is, you all are kind of launching directly into the
Yeah.
work. There
We're new to
hasn't
work
really been a
before.
chance to calm down.
All right. Heavy machinery roll with a help action.
Yep, with an extra +1 from Miller. And I'll tell you what, I'll give you another +1 from Ava. She's going to be
Hell
helping
yeah.
out too.
That's 10 dice, baby, plus 3 stress.
Can't fail
so-
this. Don't tell it to the audience yet, as we're going to now switch to Miller or to Wilson and Clayton's perspective. And Reed, are you accompanying Wilson and Clayton?
I believe I was with Shaman Miller.
That's
Okay.
right.
So what are you doing in all of this? Are you just going to stand watch down the one hallway?
Yeah, I'm pretty much gonna sit here. If I hear anything funny going on or see anything funny, I'm gonna just get ready to shoot it with my gun.
As you are in alien mechanical terms, this would be taking an overwatch position. So you would, if you saw something, you could essentially get the jump and have a jump in initiative for that there. As people are beginning to ferry the tools and supplies up and down this one maintenance shaft, Ava will say, there is an additional entrance point on the opposite side of the air scrubber, if you would want to monitor that as well. You should know this, Colonel Reed.
Of course I do. I've always known this. Yeah. Well.
And so on the map, if you see, you're kind of standing, I'm imagining, on the west side of this hallway here, and there is an additional entrance that would be on the opposite side. So I will let you determine how you want to keep watch.
We'll keep watch on the opposite side just in case.
I mean,
Who knows?
if you're gonna describe this to us, you could just barricade one side. Like, even if the barricade's not effective, we'll probably hear the clanging as it's taken down.
Yeah, it'll be. I'll tell you, barricade
Probably.
the one side. That what is it? I'll take the opposite.
And obviously, you'll tell us that, hey, I'm blocking this side.
Oh,
You
yeah,
know
of
what would
course.
be great to block up the other side? One of those barrels of quinitrocycline. Just,
Yeah.
in case it gets tipped over, you can light it right up. Nothing can go wrong.
Yeah, if I'm able to maneuver one of those,
They can
we'll
jump in the
try to.
water.
Burn up all the oxygen.
Fuck it.
It's a perfect plan. Now, Wilson and Clayton, it seems that you are on your own as you are continuing to walk down the hallway past the body of, I believe it was Davis, who was slumped, having blown the top of their head off with a shotgun that actually you haven't seen it in a while. Don't even know what those idiots must have done with it. Making your way to the main cockpit area. Clayton will sort of open the opportunity for chit chat, sort of muttering to herself, but not initiating any meaningful conversation yet, to give you a chance to lead if you wish.
I'll kind of wait until we're in a I think we're heading toward the mother room. I kind of want to be in a maybe safe location, at least an enclosed location where we can see the entrance before I open up to the sensitive information. But I'll sort of say, so How does our trust level look now?
Okay. In this case, because I think the rest of the crew expected you to hit the cockpit and command station, you're just
Mhm.
going to let them go down the stairs and wait until you hear the canter of their voices drop
Mhm.
down, then immediately go up the stairs, and you are right next to the Mother 2000 room. So it is just a hop, skip, and a jump. You can go inside. Clayton can use her company key card to open the sterile dodecahedron shaped room with white padded walls and blinking devices and things all around the central mother console. The door can close, and Clayton will say, "Now we have some privacy."
So you mentioned a alternative.
Yes, I'm waiting to see if the others are able to repair the engines, as I don't think I need to be the one to tell you, but this ship is a veritable gold mine for the company if we are able to return
Absolutely.
it in full. My contingency is a very last ditch effort that I don't think any of us would prefer.
Wouldn't you feel safer knowing that more than one person knows about it?
I would not. I
Not with
understand
the
why you
encounter
did.
that you just had?
I understand why you did what you did. Frankly, in your position, I would have done the same thing. But it seems you got the drop on me that
I also
time.
saved your life.
And for that, I am deeply grateful and have to wonder if it is because you are unaware of my final contingency plan. So, I am merely preserving a reason to keep myself alive for you.
I'm wounded that you would think so
Mm,
little of my sense of others, my
mm.
sense of empathy.
Well, I'll have to find some way to live with that, won't I? Now, shall we get the schematics for this thing? As she starts typing in buttons. My next task, I'm actually very glad you had this idea to be able to speak in private. Um, you saw that the freezer unit within Science Lab 1 was sabotaged. I need to
Hmm.
move the remainder of the urns that we recovered within one of the structures on LV 1113 into some kind of a cryocompatible unit. Um, I suspect the cryopods will be a bit too obvious for the remaining others to be able to spot. I think if you could help me bring them into the storage units by the armory, that would be at least discreet enough that we could keep them hidden until we can figure out our next plan. I have a pallet of them in Deck C on a locked storage unit, but it's just getting them up here is the trick.
Who are we keeping them secret from?
Presumably, your beloved Captain Miller.
Oh, that's not difficult.
Also, do you know if the loud southern one can be trusted?
Uh,
Sham? Shane? Sham?
I wouldn't trust him not to go to the captain if that's what you're asking.
Hmm, good to know.
I think that's where his
Well,
loyalties ultimately lie.
and during this time, there is that mechanical, like all of the mother sounds that we're accustomed to from the movie. And uh, Clayton is sort of noting absently, okay, elevator 2 is shot, elevator 1 is still in good condition. And so that can be our ticket there. Pulling up schematics. Can I see your. And she starts reaching for the wrist console on your suit.
What would you like?
I'm afraid I don't know what that's called on your suit, but I'm assuming
Hmm.
it still has a USB toggle on it.
Sure. So you'd like to store the information. That's what you're asking for?
I need to be able to upload compatibility for your suits to the mother mainframe here. Yes, for a USB-D, um, in order to send the ship's current ship schematic status to the remainder of your team. What, do you expect me
Certainly.
to print this off on a dot matrix print off?
No, I'm just, keeping appraised of what's going on.
Of
That's all.
course, a bit of paranoia is good for us, keeps us alive and all that.
Awareness.
And in this conversation, is there any kind of information that you are trying to manipulate out of Clayton? Uh,
I mean, other than the contingency plan. Um, and I guess I would also be wondering what are uh, the urns are just xenomorphic material. Those were the source of all of this, weren't they?
Give me just a second. I want to see how forthcoming she is, as you have been pleasant to interact with.
So pleasant.
Of course, I can't divulge all of the details, but what I can say, we were directed to land on a previously uncharted planetoid, LV 1113.
Hmm.
On arrival, we found that there were structures from indigenous, likely intelligent forms, not unlike pyramids. Inside, amidst other decay and detritus, we found these metallic urns, which is presumably why we were directed to arrive on the planet to begin with. However, it seems that the mutagenic contents of these urns must have leaked at some point and interacted with indigenous wildlife on the planet, insects, fungi, things of that nature, which caused the spores that you have since seen. We were unaware of the life stages of the parasitic larvae that would be inhaled through the spores and then erupt from the host. We learned quickly, but it wasn't fast enough. And in the haste to find a cure, our scientists were able to synthesize a vaccine from the same mutagenic compound. We call it the 26 Draconis strain. Uh, I don't know why Cooper didn't take his vaccine. He's always been a stubborn ass, even to his death, literally in this case. But it saved the rest of our lives. I can't say the same for the rest of the science team. And you can tell that she is giving you the essential information, but is glancing over some of the more sensitive, classified things. Again, it's just typical company speak.
Hmm. I think if she's doing things with Mother, I think I would wait until she was done and probably see if there's anything that Mother can tell me that's anything more that Mother can tell me.
So Mother will just say classified for all of
Okay.
this, that
So I don't have access.
you don't have access, but Clayton's
Got
key
it.
card does.
Hmm.
And you notice that as she is clicking through the menus and things, she is like hitting very quickly over certain
Hmm.
screens that you are not privy to see.
Okay. There's no way for me to, because she's putting information onto my wrist pad. There's no way to get more information than what she's putting on there.
If you want to do something like that, I would say that would mean trying to subtly key over some of the other consoles within this mother unit
Mm-hmm.
to see on a spare screen. There's several monitors in here. I would
Mm-hmm.
ask for a Comtech roll to see if you can subtly do that.
Okay. Sure.
I mean, Comtech just to see if you can do that. Then we could
Yeah.
worry about the subtlety part.
Yeah.
You can say, "Hey, what's that?" And then we can get that done.
I do have 2 successes, but I also panicked. So I have a nervous twitch.
And I think that may be that you are leaning over and essentially you can hit the back button and you're trying to look at some information on the 26 Dracona strain compound. And there is
Mhm.
a that gives a little bit of noise and causes you to panic. So you start like hitting too many
Yeah.
buttons. Clayton's
Yeah.
stress is going to go up. And
Uh-huh.
yeah, I will say, as a consequence for this, you have now shattered that very tenuous trust that seemed to have been being built there. Clayton will exit out and say, "Well, I think we've gotten all the information that we need to get at this point. Will you help me with the urns or not?"
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
Okay. So this will take a shift of work. And essentially, you and Clayton will need to exit out of the mother mainframe and head to elevator 1 in the ship, which I believe is the one on the west side. I seem to be preferring the left hand side of the map. That's what we're going to stick with. Um, if you can go down to elevator 1, you can go to deck C and hear some chattering and clamoring of the people as they are beginning to uh, open up or beginning to work on the air scrubber. Um, do you want to roll mobility or do you want Clayton to roll it to see if you can sneak by unnoticed?
Um, um, Mobility. I mean, I guess I don't know what her mobility is.
Her mobility would be a grand total of 4 base dice.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, I can do it.
Okay. She can gently tiptoe over and open the keypad to the 3rd storage unit in here. The one that, for the viewers at home, Cham tried to open and was locked. Inside is essentially a pallet jack that contains several sort of stacks of these metallic urns, at least 24 of them.
Okay.
Go ahead and roll mobility.
Okay. Is she helping? Is this a
Yes,
thing
she
that
is
she can
helping,
help
so
with?
you can
Okay.
get a +1 on this. And don't tell me what you got, because now we're going to switch over to Flynn's perspective. This neomorph, the name is starting to have a certain ring to it, so might as well stick with it. Unless you wanted to name it yourself. Technically, you would be within your rights to do that as a scientist. Is it a Flynnomorph?
No, I'm not that vain. I'm scientific. Neomorph sounds fancy. Better than anything I could come up with. So, yeah, neomorph.
Okay. And you are taking some tissue samples and things from it, running some tests. I would say if you're not worried about, the host integrity, you could just decapitate the corpse and bring the head back with you to be able to study and more.
That's what I was planning. If I had a blade sharp enough to cut their flesh, then that's what.
Perfect. The trick is going to be finding a blade that can do it or having enough determination, as this is going to take a while, about a shift to do, as you are able to extract some patches of this thin but surprisingly tough and resilient skin, decapitate the thing, and bring it back into the med lab. What do you want to name Rye's child? The neomorph within the cage. I think it's helpful to give it a specific name.
I mean,
Jonathan?
Spike.
Spike. Spike seems to be sleeping after having gorged himself on the foot he was birthed from. You can see the boot is sitting mostly still. There is a rustling, kind of damp sound inside that, but otherwise seems to be more or less inert. As you are studying this creature, or the remains of this creature, what did you roll for your analysis roll?
Did I roll one before?
If you didn't roll before, you can do it now.
I got a roll. Yeah, because I got 2 successes. Because I think I got 3 on my first one when I first studied. Yeah, I got 2 successes 30 minutes ago.
And you were wondering what the tissue of these things are made of. The first bit of information that I can give you is arguably quite unsettling for Flynn, as you can tell that these were originally human tissues. The skin and the flesh that you pulled off of this thing, at least at one point, was human skin and flesh. And you wonder about taking a DNA test on it, as you can see sort of the initial bases of it. However, it has been warped and reconstructed. It seems almost like there are interlacing cell walls that cause it to have greatly reinforced strength. And you can see that this is why they've been able to shrug off many gunshots with more ease than typical animals. The skin is very tough, resistant to punctures and slashing. But as you are running experiments, you find that it is less resistant to flames, as it seems that the interlacing cell walls of this tissue seem to break down slightly in the presence of high heat temperatures, open flames, things of that nature. They don't just melt and fall apart, but their resistance seems to be dampened in that. For your second success. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, if you, one thing I did want to test is because I think we had 5 vaccine samples.
Mm-hmm.
But one of what didn't have to be used because Davis didn't make it. So I was hoping to use like a micro, very subscale level, see what happens when my vaccine interacts, when our vaccine actually interacts with the neomorph flesh. But that's just one of the tests I want to run.
Okay. For that, I will say that the vaccine seems to have you are seeing it attach to the substances of this neomorph flesh. However, since it is inert and non-biologically active, there's not a whole lot that it is doing.
Okay.
If you but if you want to inject it into the severed head of the creature, you puncture it with one of the ampoules and inject the remaining portion of the substance. And at that, the mouth seems to extrude out as all of the muscles and things inside of it tensed up to great degree. And you can see a swelling around the base of the neck, as it seems that the substance, as you and Cooper had discussed, it seems to render the tissues derived from the same 26 Draconis strain inert into tumors. You wonder how effective it would be to inject it to inject it into Spike. But you do see that the tissues around the base of the neck seem to swell somewhat. If you slice an incision down the length of this relatively oblong head, you can see it is a collection of very tight muscles. There is a carapace that seemed to be of cartilage that was beginning to harden, but not as hard as the spikes that you saw coming out of, well, Spike. Uh, but the muscles seem to be laced all up and down the length of it to see that the teeth are extruding out. There is a digestive column in the base, and then as it is brought into the skull, the contents are crushed and dragged inside, and there is a relatively effective digestive acid inside of the digestive column of the creature. But for those of us fans of the Alien movie, the blood of these things is not acidic like the xenomorphs we know and love. The digestive column is. So don't let it kiss you.
Okay. Interesting.
And while you are running this analysis, you can hear movement from Spike behind you. Rye groans a little bit, but the sedative still seems to be working within the Pauling med pod. There is a shuffling, sloughing sound from inside Rye's boot.
I'll peer. I'll peer into the bay.
You have to shine your flashlight into the base of the boot, and you can see that it seems to be cocooning itself. Not necessarily. There's a translucent layer of something, and then you can see kind of moving and things between it. Sure, it's nothing to worry about. Just another developmental stage that you can monitor and take notes on.
Fascinating. Yeah, I'll wait for it to maybe get a little more dormant, and then I'll definitely get some up close looks at it, but I'll let it settle in.
Okay. Cham, how did that heavy machinery roll work?
Well, I got 2 successes, no panics. So on 13 dice, I wish it had been more, but I'll take 2.
Okay. And Reed, can you give me an observation roll as you are playing Sentry? Acting Sentry. Playing makes it sound like this isn't serious.
One success, no panic.
Okay. And Miller, you are. How are you helping Cham through this? Are you also going to be inside of the air scrubber area? Are you going to be bringing additional filters
Yeah, I'm
back with him?
ferrying the tools and the filters back and forth because he's the expert here. I'm just the helping hands.
Okay. And by this point, I will say your suit's oxygen supply has diminished as you are in here the better part of an hour.
Okay.
I know your 3 dice have been very lucky, but at this point, even they can't last forever.
Sounds good.
All right.
So in that case, I'll take the helmet off.
Sure. You can at least keep the remainder of the suit on. The noise in here is very loud, but you and Cham can communicate over radios. Ava is bringing the filters from the one storage unit down to down to you, and then you can ferry them through the vent. Wilson, how did your observation roll work? Or your mobility roll work?
I panicked.
You are hauling the pallet jack of these metallic urns out as Ava rounds a corner, and you make eye contact for a second.
Well, it's a tremble, so I think probably if I'm trembling uncontrollably.
Oh, you drop the.
One of them falls off of the pallet as you were trying to like drag it away, as Ava kind of looks at you, cocks her head slightly, and continues on. You can tremble, like grab the thing and put it back onto the pallet jack. I think that causes your stress to go up by 1, but
it does not. But all
Oh.
skill rolls using agility suffer a -2 modification until the panic stops, which I would like it to stop at some point.
Okay. I think for comedic purposes, you are creating a lot of noise, actually, as you are trying to quickly bring this pallet of metal urns into the elevator. Clayton is looking at you. What the fuck are you doing? And you can get in the elevator, and Reed actually got a success on her observation roll. I think that Reed, you can notice that Wilson or that someone has carried something into the elevator to the side in the hallway, but it was a suit.
I
Are you
mean,
going to leave your post?
I'm pretty confident that we're not looking for people in a suit. We're looking for aliens in a alien shell. So I'm gonna stay right here just in case. I don't care. If it's anything nefarious going on, it's not up to me.
Do you report that to us?
Uh, I mean, it's not that tense of a moment right now. If there's like a lull, yeah, like once you're done with the work, maybe.
Well, they're supposed to be at the bridge helping us. They're obviously not doing that. Do you trust them, Reed?
I trust them as far as I can throw them, but they're the ones signing the checks right now, so I don't really got much of a choice.
At some point, these social constructs are gonna break down. Like when it's do or die, they're up to something.
Would they cause the only security that they have to go against them? I doubt it. They must have a good reason for what
If
they're
it's for the
doing.
company, yeah, I've seen it time and time again in my experience.
I mean, they can try and survive without us, but I don't think they're going to make it very far, and I think they know it too. So honestly, as long as I still got my gun and my health, I'm fine. I don't know about you, Captain.
All right. Hey Wilson, you're at the bridge, right? Where are those schematics?
I'll bring them down to you shortly.
What are you doing right
I'm coming down to bring you the schematics.
now? Is there any way I can sense the motive of? I don't
So,
buy that shit because
yeah, since you're just listening over radio, I'm honestly going to say, like, it's hard to sense motive if it's just, you're getting kind of a shitty radio signal, but you are.
But Reed told me information otherwise.
Yes, exactly. And
Yeah.
so you suspect Wilson is up to some shit and maybe regretting leaving the two skeezy company agents to work together. I guess in a way it's not surprising that they're doing something else.
That's okay. We can organize a mutiny here.
You're the captain.
And Cham, while you are inside of this air scrubber room, you can barely hear yourself think. Even with the constant back chatter going across the radio here, you are just panting heavy. This is causing a lot of exertion as you are basically having to go up the ladder, take some of these things down. You're having to almost like hammer and kind of crack them out as the growths are so thick on all of these filters that are going up across. Worse than that, they are constantly rotating slowly. So at least you can, from one point on the ladder, hang out, let them rotate, and take the filters off, and then put the filters on as they are going across, and then move up to the next level. It is not lost on you that at least Rye would have made some more pleasant company, as you are continually given the shit duties for these types of things.
Well, guess that's why they pay me the big bucks, huh?
That's right. Yeah.
Laugh
Also,
at
I don't think anyone else here could do it.
it's all right. I just want to get the fuck off this tugboat. If you catch my drift, Captain.
That's right. Here in SV. Oh wait,
Gotta get Tyrannus V. Hell yeah.
And as you have to continually wipe the steam off of the front of your spacesuit, you are struck by a certain paranoid feeling as were both of the vents taken off down here?
Well, shit.
You can raise your stress by 1 and give me an observation roll at -2 base dice.
Stress goes up by 1. What's my observation? 4 stress dice, 1 regular. Let's go, baby. I got 1 success and 2 panic, or whatever that's called.
Okay. Can you roll a d6 and add your panic, please?
Yes. D6 and add these 2 panic to it. That's how
No,
that
no,
works.
no. Whatever your total stress level is, roll a
Mhm.
d6 and add that number to it. Tell me what you get.
Got it. Ooh, okay. I got a total of 5. I rolled a 1.
Okay. You're able to keep it together just barely. As you're looking, you are thinking that, like, well, God damn it. I saw this thing go into these vents at least at some point. So even if it knocked some of the vent covers off, that doesn't mean that it's in here right now, right? Right? You're glancing around everywhere, and as you're looking at the growths on these rotating uh, remainders of the air filters, you're struck by a paranoid wonder if something could be camouflaged in them, hiding between them, if it's just been rotating and watching you this entire time. It was hanging on that vent. You don't know if it can climb onto the walls. You look at the railing underneath you, at the electrified water beneath you, and you don't see it hiding under there. Your breathing starts to get heavier as you're looking. And Miller, as you are carrying more of these supplies, Cham left his motion tracker on just as a little bit of extra insurance. And that's when you see it.
Oh.
Heading down the same vent as you.
Okay.
And that is where we're going to end it for tonight.
Damn it. we're all screwed. Okay, good. So should we have new characters rolled up for next week, or how do you want to do this?
I think Miller is going to do just fine. He has a bolt gun, and they have been doing very well so far.
The gun? Or was it Wilson?
Or was it these guns? No.
Oh boy.
Whew.
Stress.
Davis did win. Truly.
Yeah.
He died high in an instant.
That's true. He was so high. Yeah.
He
What a
truly felt
legend.
no pain.
What a legend.
And now you guys are going through it.
Fuck. Okay. So well, that gives us a week to determine how to come up with a cunning plan as to how we're all going to survive this one, right?
I shoot it.
Shoot it.
That's my plan.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, I hope you all had fun tonight. I am very excited to start up next week, not unlike how this week may have happened. But we shall cross that bridge or that vent when we get to it. For those of you listening at home, I hope you enjoyed this session. This has been another It's Alive from RPG Reanimators. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening. Be sure to check out the RPG Reanimators podcast for horror scenario reviews, interviews, gaming discussions, and more.